What's up, guys? This is Benny Ricciardi with FTN Bets, bringing you our first look at the NFL lines for Week 7 from DraftKings and BetMGM. So let's start with the Thursday night game here. We have the Denver Broncos taking on the Cleveland Browns. Denver is 3-3, 3-3 against the spread, 2-4 to the over, coming off a 34-24 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Cleveland Browns are also 3-3, 3-3 against the spread, 4-2 to the over, coming off a loss to the Arizona Cardinals, 37-14. When I run the numbers on this game, I get the Cleveland Browns should be favored by 6. So when we look here with the 5.5, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of value here. I like the -5 that we can get on DraftKings, a little bit better than the 5.5 over on BetMGM. It is juiced up a little more, but I'll still take the 0.5 point for, basically 5 basis points. I think that's a good way to do it. Whenever we have a little bit of value on the spread, we also have a little bit of value on the money line. And the number 5 is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's again, it's not 7, it's not 3. Those are the key numbers for football. When you get it to 5 in there, it's just kind of, it's kind of like a dead number the way I call it. But like I said, if you have value on the spread, you're also going to have value on the money line since those two are derivatives of each other. So using the money line on the Browns at -225 over on BetMGM is something I wouldn't mind doing as piece of a parlay. The next game up is the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati is 4-2, 3-3 against the spread, 1-5 to the over, coming off a win against the Detroit Lions, 34-11. Baltimore is 5-1, 3-3 against the spread, 3-3 to the over, coming off a win against the Los Angeles Chargers, 34-6. I shouldn't even call that a win. I should call that an absolute beatdown because that's what it was this weekend. When I run numbers on this game, I get the Baltimore Ravens should be favored by 7. So, I mean, I guess there is a little bit of value there on the Ravens with the 6.5. You're getting it at less than a touchdown. The numbers like 6 and 8 matter a little more now than they used to a couple of years ago with the 2-point conversions and the analytics and the way that teams are going for 2 a little more often right now. So I don't think it's all that much value, but there is a little bit there. I actually think the best way to play this game, because I do like the Ravens and because I think it should be -7, not -6.5. I think the best way to use this game is as part of a teaser. You could tease this down to Ravens -0.5, basically saying you just need the Ravens to win. You look at the money line, -280, -275 there. If you want to use that as part of a parlay as well, remember, anytime we have, value on the spread, we're going to have a little bit of value on the money line. That's the way that I would be playing this game here. Do I want to lay 6.5 to take the Ravens with my number being -7? Probably not, but there are other ways that I think we could play this game, and I do think the Ravens are a good bet. The next game that we can talk about, the Carolina Panthers taking on the New York Giants. Carolina is 3-3, 3-3 against the spread, 2-4 to the over, coming off a loss to the Minnesota Vikings, 34-28. The New York Giants are 1-5, 2-4 against the spread, 3-2-1 to the over. So they are coming off a loss to the Rams, 38-11, which equals 49 points. This game actually closed. It opened a little higher than 49. I think it opened at like 50 or 50.5, dropped down throughout the week, but the closing line on it was 49. So we hit that right on the 49, which is why they have a tie there. When I run my numbers on this game, I get Carolina should be favored by 2 points on the road, which means that, if you're looking for value here, the Giants +3 at BetMGM is probably the value right here. I think they're a pretty live home dog. Carolina's offense is pretty much garbage. We saw that this last weekend. Their defense is better than people expect, but right now I'm not a fan of that Carolina offense whatsoever. I would rather play that +3 with the Giants on BetMGM than anything on the money line here. If this does move, which I think it will, closer to the 2.5 that you see on DraftKings, I would not take 2.5. Taking 2.5 doesn't really do anything for me. At that point, I would probably avoid the game, or if I was going to do anything, I would put a little sprinkle of money on the Giants money line over there at DraftKings at +135. If you can't get the full field goal, I wouldn't bother trying to take the Giants on this side. I don't think the Giants are very good. I also don't think Carolina is very good. So I think this game is going to be kind of close. I think it is going to come down to a field goal one way or the other. it is more likely that Carolina wins it, which is why I said if you can get the +3 with the Giants, I would be okay taking that bet. If I couldn't get the full field goal, though, I'm just going to avoid this one. So the next game here is my New York Jets taking on the New England Patriots. The Jets are 1-4, 1-4 against the spread, 2-3 to the over, coming off a bye after playing in London and losing the week before to the Atlanta Falcons. The Patriots are 2-4, 2-4 against the spread, 2-4 to the over, coming off a 35-29 overtime loss to the Dallas Cowboys, where they actually played pretty well in that game, although at the end they did kind of let it go. When I run my numbers here, I get Patriots favored by -5. So I am bearish on the New England Patriots here at -6.5. I'm not saying that they can't beat the Jets. I do expect that to happen. I'm just saying that it's probably a few too many points here. The Patriots are only 2-4 against the spread. People are still overvaluing this team. The offense is really not good. The defense is good, but nowhere near as good as they had been in years past. If they play solid opponents, I'm never going to be on the Patriots side of it. Unfortunately, the Jets are not a solid opponent here. Like I said, the best thing I think to do is just pass. But if you're looking at that number 6.5 on the Patriots and thinking it's too low, I don't think it's too low. That's why I'm bearish on the New England Patriots here. The next game up, the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Tennessee Titans. Chiefs are 3-3, 2-4 against the spread, 4-2 to the over, coming off a win against the Washington Redskins, 31-13. They were in control of that game pretty much throughout. Tennessee is 3-2, 3-2 against the spread, 3-2 to the over. And again, I'm doing this video on Sunday night, Monday morning. They play Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. So we'll have to see how that all works out. When I run my numbers on this game, I get the Chiefs should be favored by -3, Chiefs -3. There's probably value here on the Titans at +4.5. The +4.5 -115 on BetMGM is the place that I would, probably be looking to take a little bit of a stab here. It's a little tough for me to say, yeah, I would go make this bet right now because I want to see what happens on Monday night. I mean, you never know. AJ gets hurt again, or Julio gets hurt again, or, Ryan Tannehill goes down or something like that. And then you're stuck with a number that's probably a bad number. But looking at it right now on a look ahead before that game is even played, I do think the Titans at +4.5 is probably a little high. The -115 and the +4 on DraftKings leads me to believe that number is going to come down to, Chiefs -4, maybe even Chiefs -3.5 or something. I doubt it gets to my number of Chiefs -3, but either way, not looking to be on the Chiefs side of this game here. Rather be on the Titans side. And I do think that if you want that 4.5, you're going to have to take it now because I don't think we're going to be able to get it later in the week. Next game up, the Washington football team taking on the Green Bay Packers. Washington, 2-4 record, 1-5 against the spread, 4-2 to the over, coming off a 34-13 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Packers are 5-1, 5-1 against the spread, 2-4 to the over, coming off a 24-14 win to the Chicago Bears. When I run my numbers here, I get the Packers should be favored by about 7.5 points. So I am bearish on the Green Bay Packers at 10.5 right now. I just think it's too many points. Honestly, I'd even bet on the Washington football team here on DraftKings because I'm getting the hook on that 10.5 at -120. I mean, my number is only 7.5. So at 10.5, we're basically looking at 3 points of value there. It is juiced up. I will say that. I mean, it is a -120 there. So, betting, let's see, you bet 100, you get back like 81 cents on the dollar or something. But I like having that hook there. Again, Washington, they're a little banged up. They're not as good a team. The Packers are back at home here. The Packers have been pretty good, but I just think 10.5 is too many points. So I'm bearish on the Green Bay Packers at 10.5 here. The next game up, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Miami Dolphins. Atlanta is 2-3, 2-3 against the spread, 3-2 to the over, coming off a bye after playing London last week against the New York Jets. Miami is 1-5, 2-4 against the spread, 3-3 to the over, coming off a loss in London to Jacksonville. And for some reason, they declined to take their bye week like the NFL was offering any team that had to go over to London. So I don't know why they decided not to do that. Seems to be a dumb thing to me. I did factor it into my number a little bit. But even factoring that into my number a little bit, I mean, I'm basically right on market here. I get the Miami Dolphins -1, which is exactly what they have on BetMGM, although it's juiced down a little bit there. I don't know. I don't see any bet here. I mean, even just looking at the money line, right? You got -110, -110 on BetMGM. You got -105, -115 on DraftKings here. I mean, the books are basically telling you this is a coin flip. If you really have a strong feeling about one team or the other, by all means, go ahead and do it. If I was going to put any money on this game, I'm probably just going to play it on the money line here. But at this point, they're both juiced up. I think it's a coin flip. So in the overall scheme of things, I'm right on market, and I don't think there's any value. The next game we can talk about, the Detroit Lions taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Detroit is 0-6, 3-3 against the spread, though, and 2-4 to the over. They are coming off a 34-11 beatdown at the hands of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Los Angeles Rams are 5-1, 4-2 against the spread, 4-1-1 to the over. They were the team that played the New York Giants in that other game that hit right on the closing 49 number right there. They did beat the Giants in that game, 38-11, handled their business, were in control throughout. So when I run my number on this game, I get the Rams should be favored by 14.5. So yes, it's a huge number, but I mean, when you look at it, it's pretty much on market here for me. Again, I said it last week with Cincinnati. I don't think the Lions are a very, very good team. I think their run game is decent. I don't think they can throw the ball on offense. I don't think their defense is very good. So, yeah, the Rams should crush in this game. About the best thing I could say here is I am bullish on the Rams as a teaser piece. You could tease this down to 9.5, get it under 10. Like I said, my number is 14.5, so I was expecting a big number there anyway. Detroit is only averaging 15 points per game over their last 5. And to me, that's a problem because if you're only going to be averaging 15 points, they had 11 the last game. They had 3 games where they scored 17 and 1 game where they scored 14 in the last 5. That means that really, if we can get the Rams to about 25 points, they'd be able to cover this teaser here. You would need them to be over 30 to cover the full spread, which is why I said I'm not super interested in taking the spread here, but I am bullish on teasing this down to 9.5. That's the way that I would play this game here. I do think the Rams are going to roll Detroit. The next game up, the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Eagles are 2-4, 3-3 against the spread, 2-4 to the over, coming off that Thursday night football loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 28-22. Las Vegas is 4-2, 3-3 against the spread, 3-3 to the over, coming off a win against the Denver Broncos in a game that I don't think a lot of people were giving them a chance to win, 34-24. Now, again, John Gruden is out. They were in a little bit of turmoil. Maybe there was a lot of emotions there. Those are not things that I look at in my numbers. I'm looking at the raw data. I'm looking at the raw numbers, and I'm trying to take the emotion out of this play. So when I look at it here, I get that the Raiders should be favored by -3, which is exactly what the market is at right now. So I don't have any bets on this game. I don't have any value on this game. I think this game is lined right where it should be. The next game I want to talk about here is the Houston Texans taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Houston is 1-5 on the season, 3-3 against the spread, 3-3 to the over, coming off a 31-3 beatdown at the hands of the Indianapolis Colts. Arizona is 6-0 on the season, 5-1 against the spread, 3-3 to the over, coming off a win against the Cleveland Browns, 37-14 after traveling to Cleveland for that game. So when I run my number on this game, I get Arizona -14. It is too many points at 17, but it's not a crazy number that's out there, right? According to my numbers, there is a little bit of value on the Houston side, but I mean, I'm not going to pull the trigger. Like, I can't bet on bad teams. And what I said yesterday to a friend of mine when we were talking about this game is, let's say you were playing a teaser here. Would you rather tease the Texans up to 23 or the Cardinals down to -11? And to me, I think I would rather tease the Texans up to 23 if I had to pick one of those two sides. Like I said, my number's only 14 on it. So teasing it down to 11 still doesn't put me that far away from where I thought the game should be anyway. Teasing it up to 23, though, does put me pretty far away from that number. So I'm not saying to tease the Texans. I am not going to be teasing the Texans. They did just lose by 28 to Indianapolis, who I don't think is as good as Arizona. But at the end of the day, it's just too many points to mess around with here. Yes, there probably is value on the Texan side. No, I am not willing to put any money on it, even in a teaser with the extra 6 points that could get it up to 23. So the next one we're going to talk about here, the Chicago Bears taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's see. Chicago is 3-3, 3-3 against the spread, 1-5 to the over, coming off that 24-14 loss to Green Bay. Tampa Bay is 5-1, 2-4 against the spread, 4-2 to the over, coming off a 28-22 win against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football. When I run my numbers here, I get Tampa Bay should be favored by about 8. So I am very, very, very bearish on Tampa Bay at 12.5 minus 13 points here. I think there's a lot of value on Chicago. This number is just way too big. You look at Tampa Bay, right? They're 5-1 on the season, but they're only 2-4 against the spread. So this is another one of those teams that the books and the betting public seem to be overvaluing because they're the defending champs and Tom Brady and the good defense and, you know, whatever other narratives you want to put in here. I'm not saying Tampa Bay would lose this game. Like, I wouldn't be looking to take Bears plus 460 or plus 550 on the money line. That's just crazy. But when you're looking at it, like 13 just feels like too many points. So I would be interested in taking the Bears plus 13 or, you know, plus 12.5 at better juice on BetMGM. And I also think that if you're going to tease it, this is a teaser piece that I wouldn't mind including. Tease the Bears up to 19 or 18.5 here. I just think it's way too many points that they're asking. Like I said, my number is 8. So you're looking at 4.5 to 5 points of value here on the Bears side. So I am bearish on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 13 or 12.5. The next game we can talk about here, the Indianapolis Colts taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Indy is 2-4 against the spread. I'm sorry, 2-4 on the season, but 4-2 against the spread, 3-3 to the over, and coming off a 31-3 win against the Houston Texans. San Francisco is 2-3 on the season, 1-4 against the spread, 2-3 to the over, and they are coming off a bye. When I run my numbers here, I get San Francisco should be favored by a field goal. So I think -4 is a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much, though. It's not like I'm super bearish on this number. It's not like +4 is enough to get me to switch over to the Indianapolis Colts side. Like I said, I think the 49ers should be favored by 3. I don't want to lay 4 because then I give up the push on the field goal. So the way I'm looking at it right now is the best thing to do is just kind of pass on this game. And that brings us to the Monday Night Football game here between the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. New Orleans is 3-2, 3-2 against the spread, 2-3 to the over, and coming off a bye last week. Seattle is 2-4, 2-4 against the spread, and 1-4-1 to the over. They also got a put. We haven't had a push all season, and we actually had 2 pushes last week in week 6. They played Pittsburgh. The closing line on that game, now again, depending where you look, but the closing line I was looking at was 43. The game went into overtime, tied up 20-20. Pittsburgh kicked the field goal. That made it 43. That gave a lot of people that took that line late in the week a push. I think it was a little bit higher earlier in the week, so you might have got a win on the under if you bet it early, which is why we do these videos at the beginning of the week, because a lot of times you can get better numbers if you are betting them early and taking the first look at them. BetMGM did not have any numbers up for this game yet. They didn't have them up last night, and they didn't have them up early this morning when I was doing this video. So eventually they will put numbers up. My guess is they're going to be very similar to the numbers on DraftKings, maybe 0.5 point to a point in either direction. That's about as much as you see it go. When I run my numbers on this game, though, I get the Saints -2.5. If I had to make a bet, I would say the value is with Seattle here at +3.5. But I really don't want to do it against the Saints D with backup quarterback Geno Smith in there. You know, Russell Wilson had that finger issue from hitting it on someone's helmet. Not really. Again, I don't really want to bet this game. Seattle, I think, has a lot of nice pieces. I think they could keep it close like they did on Sunday Night Football last week. But with that being said, I don't think that they can win, and I don't want to put any money behind them, even though they're getting about a point from my number of New Orleans -2.5. They're getting a point. That point is on the other side of the 3. If I had more faith in them, this is a spot that I would normally bet, but I do not want to take this bet with Geno Smith against the Saints defense that I think is pretty good. And there you go. That wraps it up for Betting with Benny, our first look at the Week 7 NFL lines. Remember, if you guys enjoyed the video, please go down and give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let us know what you think. I want to know what games you guys are on this week. I want to know what games you agree with me with. I want to know what games you disagree with me about. I try to check the comments at least once a week at least once a day on the YouTube channel. Also check them at least once a week over on iTunes. You can get Betting with Benny over on iTunes. Just go into your podcast app, type in Betting with Benny. You'll see it pop up. Make sure to like and subscribe over there and leave us leave us some comments over there as well. We always like to see that. So for Benny Ricciardi here at FTN Bets, good luck, everybody.